Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dreams Unlimited Travel Parents Panel Podcast. My name is John Magi, and I'll be your host. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about taking kids on the Disney Wish, specifically Hannah and her 2-year-old son. I am joined this week by Dreams Unlimited Travel agent and member of the Diz Unlimited podcast, Hannah Anderson.
Hi.
And producer of all things Diz Dreams related, Craig Williams.
Ahoy, ahoy. Thanks for having me, John.
Thanks for doing this. Appreciate you guys for being here. I appreciate everyone who is at home listening and watching to us. Really super excited to talk to Hannah about her experience on the Disney Wish. We had Chris Vorbeck on a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about his experience on the Wish. It seems like things are getting better on the Wish, from what I'm understanding, as opposed to when the Wish first launched. So that's good news for everybody. Before we get into it, before we start our show, I want to let folks know, in case you didn't know already, you can now book 2025 Adventures by Disney vacations. Really excited that this new information has dropped. And beginning this week, depending on if you've had been on previous Adventures by Disney vacations, will depend on when you can book. But the really good news is Adventures by Disney is launching with a early booking savings, which is up to $500 off per guest, depending on the trip you choose. And in addition, on certain adventures, almost said cruises, on certain adventures, they are running a special on third and fourth guests in the same room. You can combine that with our Dreams Unlimited Travel early booking discount of up to $1,300 per reservation for really big savings. Got to tell you, you got to book early. The Disney savings will go away fast. They are based on a few rooms per adventure, and then they go away. And these are pretty good savings. So they usually go pretty fast, but also availability fills up quickly. So Adventures by Disney 2025 vacations, contact your Dreams Unlimited Travel agent. If you don't have a Dreams Unlimited Travel agent, you can write to me, john@dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. All right, with the commercials out of the way, we're going to Hannah, super excited to talk to you, Hannah, about this. You took your son, 2-year-old son, on the Disney Wish. I believe you said it was a 4-night sailing, and this was his first cruise ever. So let's talk about that. What was that like, taking your 2-year-old on his first cruise ever?
Well, I have to tell you, I was kind of hoping to take him sooner. That was the plan. And then just, life happens. You can take your little one as early as 6 months old. And I was hoping to do so because selfishly, I wanted to go on a cruise too. Going into it, we love Disney cruises. That's really the only cruise line we've experienced in more recent years. And it was kind of interesting because a lot of what we love about Disney Cruise Line are the adult amenities. So, past trips, it was all about going to Serenity Bay, Castaway Cay, and the Apollo Brunch, and the Quiet Cove Pool, things like that. So I was aware of the kids' programming and activities, but we had just never personally experienced it before. So it was very fun and exciting for me, especially being a travel agent, because it was also my first time on the Disney Wish. So it kind of felt like almost a new experience. We did decide to get a passport for him, just in case, we were hoping to travel. And if you have a passport, then you're ready to go. But you can also use a birth certificate, a U.S. birth certificate, depending on what itinerary. But if you're a U.S. citizen and going on one of the Bahamian sailings, like we did from Port Canaveral, you're good to go with just that. So, in terms of planning, to be honest, we booked this last minute. And so we kind of winged it, I guess, a little bit. But I think that's part of the joy of going on a Disney cruise is there's so much to do on board that's included that we just wanted to soak up as much of that as possible. So, and I'm happy to report it, it wasn't the same cruise that we've taken obviously without a child, but we had a great time. And I think this might be our new favorite Disney vacation with a kid.
Wow. That's saying a
Yeah.
lot. That's really cool. So it's really great about, sort of doing the Disney cruise like a last minute thing. It's now become cheaper to cruise than it is to actually buy groceries. So you probably save money on your groceries.
That is, true. To some degree, that is very true. And this, kids, they eat lots of, fruit and milk and yogurt and things that expire quickly. So yeah, that's true.
Let me ask you a little bit about the pre-cruise planning. Now, I know you said it was last minute, so you probably didn't do a lot. But compared to traveling with just you and your husband, or however you've traveled in the past, what was different about bringing your son this time? What did you have to think about ahead of time that you didn't have to think about before?
Sure. So, I mean, really for us, probably in terms of booking onboard activities, port adventures, that kind of thing. The first thing I did actually was go and try to book the Small World Nursery since he is under 3. The Small World Nursery is available on all of the Disney ships. It is something that's highly encouraged that you book it in advance. It is an additional fee of $9 per hour. So I was kind of surprised that the Small World Nursery really does book up pretty quickly, especially during the dinner time hours. That seems to be a really popular time for people to take advantage of the Small World Nursery. Also on board, I kind of found the same to be true as well, that it is very popular. So that's actually the first thing I did was go to the Disney Cruise Line app and reserve a couple times. You can cancel once you're on board. So I kind of booked more than we probably needed and just did that, knowing we had the option to cancel. So yeah, that was the first thing I did. And then second thing I did, because we were so close into the cruise, I went ahead and did online check-in. So I could hopefully get an earlier boarding time. Because the thing about toddlers is, or at least mine, he still takes a nap. And so kind of our whole world revolves around nap times now. So I tried to time it so we were either getting on board after a nap or before a nap, and hopefully he could take a nap in the stateroom. So those were kind of my two immediate thoughts. And then in terms of packing, we actually packed pretty light. So I didn't feel like I had to rush to buy anything per se to pack for the cruise. But yeah, those were kind of the things that we did right away. And then also, obviously I mentioned we already had a passport, so didn't have to worry about that piece of it. So yeah, and then thankfully, because we did book Small World Nursery, we did look into booking a mixology class, and I booked a spa reservation for myself. So trying to coincide those things with the Small World Nursery times as well. So not actually, I mean, especially compared to Walt Disney World, not too much pre-planning.
And it sounds like you because you booked late or close to sailing, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it sounds like you had what you wanted. It sounds like you were able to find the Small World Nursery slots as well as spa appointments and things. So that's encouraging to folks. I mean, there's a great deal of stress around planning a cruise. Am I going to get the things I want? It sounds great that you were able to get these things. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually even, one thing I want to point out is, speaking of that, is since we did book late, we were originally signed second dining. And I know that's a hot topic for families with kids. So second seating is at 8:15 versus the main dining, which is at 5:45. And actually even that, we were moved to main dining before setting sail. And so, so I was really encouraged by, there was nothing that I felt like we missed out on by booking later. And I will say I've found, even on previous cruises, that's one thing that Disney does so great is I feel like once you're on board, there's even more availability. So I always tell my clients, like, don't be afraid to ask guest services. Don't be afraid to go to the dining meeting. Like, just because you didn't book something or get something prior to your cruise doesn't mean it's completely off the table. So I kind of knew that going into it as well, that if there was something additional we wanted to do, we would have tried to book it on board as well.
That is really great advice. Okay, so you mentioned this. People get very, very nervous and stressed out about not getting stuff that they really want pre-cruise. And we try to explain to our clients, listen, you're going to be able to get it once you get on board. You just got to trust the process and talk to the right people once you get on board. Because I think people get very, very anxious about it. So I think that's really great advice. And we hope folks are able to take that advice. Tell me some more about Small World Nursery. Obviously, I've never traveled with kids. I don't know what it's like. I've seen inside it. I imagine it being like a scene from Annie, where the kids are washing and scrubbing,
Right.
I'm not live, but I don't know what goes on in there.
I guess, maybe we don't either. So yeah, Owen was down there making the the food.
Oh, you don't? Yeah.
I'm
We didn't
kidding.
watch them the whole time. They could have been doing anything down there.
Yeah, that's true. No, I am absolutely kidding. So I will say one thing we didn't do that I kind of regretted was that, that first day you get on board, there's so much to do. It's like you want to get lunch and you want to see the ship and you want to maybe go to your stateroom and get ready for the sailaway party. But one thing they do on that first embarkation day is they have an open house for Small World Nursery. And if you don't pre-register, which I highly recommend doing, which you can do on the Disney Cruise Line website, you can register your child that day. And so it does take a little bit of time to do that because they want to know things like if they have any allergies or if there are certain foods that they like, what kind of items are you bringing with you to the Small World Nursery. But I wish we would have gone that first day as a family just to kind of see it as a group. But they do have open houses throughout the sailing, especially on the 4-night sailing that first day when you're at Nassau. So if you don't make it the first embarkation day, there are still opportunities. But so we actually, I hate to, I'm like saying all these great things about Small World Nursery, and then my son ended up not loving it. So I know. So I think this is a good cautionary tale to set your expectations, maybe low and then be pleasantly surprised. So my son Owen has always gone to daycare since he was 6 months old. So I really thought going into it, there obviously are Disney characters all over the wall and lots of fun activities. And they even have like movies playing for the older ones. So I really thought, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. He's going to go in there, be easily distracted, and it's going to be fine. And it had nothing to do with a Small World Nursery, nothing to do with all the activities. Like they said, or like I said, they had a million options. My son is going through kind of like a separation anxiety phase. And it sounds like that's kind of something that happens when they get to that like 1 or 2 year old phase. So he made it. We didn't have to come back and get him. But he did cry when we dropped him off, and he did cry when we picked him up. So, but, they tell you, they say, okay, if he doesn't stop crying or if he's really upset, we'll give it 15 minutes. And then, we'll send you a text through the Disney Cruise Line app, tell you to come get him. And so we didn't get the text. So we did an hour and a half away, and we enjoyed the adult pool area, and that was awesome. So I'm still glad that we gave it a shot. And I think that's the thing with kids, is they're unpredictable. And so, that is something I've kind of learned with traveling with him. It's just, having your plan and then having your backup plan. So as I mentioned, you can cancel your reservation times on board. So that is unfortunately what we ended up doing because the mom guilt kicked in. So he did go for the first day, and then I was able to cancel the future times right there on the ship. But one thing, part of the Small World Nursery area on the Disney Wish is they have the Captain Minnie and Mickey's. I think they call it the Captain's Deck, and it's an activity area. And I think it's the first for Disney Cruise Line, and it has open houses pretty much I think it's every morning. They call it toddler time. So just look in the Navigator app for it. That was really great for him first thing in the morning to be able to, play and explore and run around and be in this safe area where we didn't have to worry about him trying to jump in a pool or running off. So even though we didn't use all of the Small World nursery activities like we had thought, there were still, that ended up being really great for him. And we were there every morning. So I would go and get myself a specialty coffee. I would take him down there, watch him play, and everybody was happy. So, all that to say, just, have a plan A, have a plan B, and thankfully there's multiple options.
I'm really happy it turned out that way because I thought Owen's going to be left behind on future cruises.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to have to stay home.
That is so true. Yeah. And actually, there are things like one thing actually I would highly recommend packing is grandparents. So bring the grandparents. And then that way, if your kid doesn't love the Oceaneers Club or Small World Nursery, then, you've got some extra hands. But my husband and I ended up trading off, especially during nap time and things like that. So we figured it out. It was fine. But, and I got to be honest, I'm going to try Small World again on his next cruise because kids are unpredictable. So just because he didn't love it this time doesn't mean he won't next time. So you don't know unless you try.
Were there a lot of kids on the cruise? Were there a lot of toddlers in this
oh yeah
special area?
Yeah, and it was an almost full sailing from what I heard. So it was a busy sailing, lots of families with young kids. So yeah, the Small World Nursery was busy, and I think for the most part that's probably a good thing for. At least for my son, like he likes socializing and that kind of thing. So yeah, but it didn't cause any issues in terms of like we did all the family activities. So we were at the splash pad most of the day, those kind of things. And it wasn't, I think the sailing is about as crowded as it could be, and it was fine still. So, and he ended up playing with other kids, and we sat with another family at dinner that had a son about the same age. And that actually ended up being really nice. So.
That's great. It's really, there's a lot of anxiety people have about sitting with other folks, but the fact that you were sitting with another family with someone the same age, a kid the same age, I think helps out a lot. So outside of the programming and outside of the nursery, what were some of the things you guys did that he really enjoyed, that you wanted to make sure sort of create special memories with him?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the best selling points, I think, to me for Disney Cruise Line is that the characters are everywhere all the time. And so my son Owen's going through a big character phase. He loves all of them. And so, they are, in the atrium pretty much all day. And so being able to meet different characters every single day of our cruise was definitely a highlight. And like I said, we were on a very full sailing. The Disney Wish is, the largest of the fleet currently. So we didn't have to really wait in very long lines. Like I think, the lines were 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops at the busiest. And that's pretty good, especially going to the parks. We also found that, and I don't know if it was just me, but I felt like the characters spent extra time with him and were maybe a little bit more relaxed. Like it was more than like, oh, let me just sign your autograph and take a picture. Like we got some really cute interactions where they like played with him and kind of walked around the ship together. And so that was really special. So we really enjoyed that. And then I have to say, so I was very pleasantly surprised with the Disney Wish in terms of it being so extremely family friendly. Okay, so I missed some of the adult activities. Like I didn't, spend as much time at the adult pool as I would like. But the family pool area is just, it's amazing. So we spent a lot of time at the Toy Story splash pad. And there's also multiple family pools in that same area. So, and I will say with Disney Cruise Line, you do have to be completely potty trained to use those pools. So just, keep that in mind for your little ones. But even if they have a swim diaper, it's a no-go. But that was tremendous for us. Like he was so happy we would trade off spots. There's the Currents bar is one deck up. So if mom wants to, Martini mom wants to go get a cocktail, maybe an Aperol Spritz while your kid enjoys the splash pad, you can trade off and do that. But those were, really two of the big highlights for us. And it's kind of funny with kids. A lot of times I hear this from clients is that, you spend all this money to go on vacation, whether it's a Disney cruise or Walt Disney World, and all the kids want to do is play in the pool. And so it's nice to be in this relaxed environment with so many pools and so many options. So those were the two big highlights for us. And he also really enjoyed the stage shows as well, because he does love the characters. And there's, between the Pirate Party and Sail Away Party and the nightly Broadway style shows, there's a lot of that.
So I want to go back to character interaction. Was he okay? He's a Disney kid, so I imagine he was.
Yeah.
Any issues with characters? Was he scared? Was there any, apprehension, or did he dive right in?
He dived right in, and I don't know if he'll always be like that, but he's just always been that kid who's just loved characters. I think the first time he met Woody and Jessie in the parks, he was a little hesitant, I think, because they're tall and, they just look a little bit different than your Woody at home, I guess, because they're real and they're in the parks. But on the cruise, he just, ran right up to them. And then the nice thing is, not only are the lines short, but they're in the atrium. So there were a couple times where like we traded off waiting in line, just kind of let him run around and play while we waited in line. So, and they just, the characters are, just, morning to night, always in the atrium. So, and I do want to mention, we didn't take advantage of it, but it's something I hear from clients a lot. The Princess Gathering on all the Disney cruise ships is a huge deal for little ones. And they offered it on the Disney Wish on our sailing, I think twice. And even though we didn't take part in it, it sells out very quickly if you try to book it before your cruise. Once we were on board, we actually saw it available both times. So I always like mentioning that to clients because that's usually a big deal for a lot of families. It also is basically it's a meet and greet with almost every princess you could think of, and it's free. It's included in your cruise, but you do have to book a reservation for it.
So with the other meet and greets, were these in the app? Were you able to find where these meet and greets were going to be in the app, or were they things you sort of stumbled upon walking around the ship?
It was a little bit of both, but I'm one of those people that uses the Navigator app for everything. And so we, tried to see all of the characters that were on board. So one of my recommendations is in the Navigator app, they list the times of the character meet and greets, who it's going to be, where they're going to be at, and you can heart which of the activities you want to do. And then that way you get a reminder on your phone. So, because sometimes it's easy, you're on vacation, maybe you're by the pool at the buffet, whatever, and you forget, oh darn, Donald Duck is our last character to me, and I would have completely forgotten about it. So I always recommend doing that. And then, that way, if you want to go see him, you at least got the reminder. But a lot of times we just stumbled upon him. Owen is a very busy 2-year-old. So it's sometimes hard for us to have solidified plans. So it was really nice to, be able to walk through the atrium and go, okay, there's Chippendale. Let's go meet them. And, just make that part of your come as it goes schedule.
I know this is a weird thing to say, but the kids are on vacation too. I realize he doesn't have a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one's besides him. But,
maybe
people, it drives me crazy when people are like, oh, we're going to go here and we're going to go there. And, the infamous, you're going to have a good time because I spent a lot of money on this vacation. Let the kid be on vacation. Enjoy where you are. Enjoy the surroundings. Enjoy stumbling across a character. How cool is that for a kid, right? Oh my gosh, all of a sudden he's my favorite character.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I have to say, at least that's something I'm learning. Traveling with a 2-year-old is just that, we have a routine at home, and then you're right. You take him on vacation and, like he had an ice cream cone. Well, he normally doesn't have sugar. So like nap time might be a little bit later that day, things like that. But I mean, being able to see the joy through his eyes and like have those moments that you mentioned where he's going through a big Goofy stage right now. Goofy is his favorite character. So, being able to see Goofy, right outside your hotel room or your stateroom is pretty cool. And that's what it's all about. And I also just feel like with a cruise, you're not necessarily, booking lightning lanes or having a ton of dining reservations. It's a little bit more go with the flow. And so I think that's what we really appreciate about it is we could, allow those moments to happen.
I think that's fantastic. Let's, I always like to end on a negative note. So tell me something that didn't go right. Tell me something about your cruise that maybe you thought, well, this wasn't what we planned. We should do it different last time, or you didn't enjoy a specific thing. What could we tell people as far as, sort of adjusting our expectations?
Sure. I mean, Small World Nursery was, I was really thinking he was going to love that. And he was going to, have his playtime. And then, I would have mine. I'd get to go sit in the hot tub, but that's okay. But also one thing that kind of surprised me and it didn't was, the dinners are, they're a little bit longer. And I know we'll talk about that a little bit next episode, but we did there was one night where we kind of struggled with that. And I actually ended up leaving dinner early with him. And so there's, some tips I can give on that. Like I saw some people, they book Small World Nursery, either during the entirety of dinner, because they will serve dinner in the Small World Nursery, or, in our case, he, ate his meal, I ate my meal really quick, and then we went back to the room and it was, no big deal. So I think, with that, even if you have the early dining time, depending on like the pace of it, you could be there for 2 hours or hour and a half. And sometimes that's hard, like we don't usually sit down for 2-hour dinners at home. So, I think just, set your expectations for that. I will say on the Disney Wish, one thing that was really great was, because of the Arendelle, the Frozen show that accompanies that dinner, and then the World of Marvel, show, and Spider-Man coming out and visiting, those things kind of help break up the dinner. So, so I think that was a little bit of a surprise, but I mean, overall, I have to say it was, I think, the easiest, like I said, Disney vacation we've taken. So, and actually, I will say I'm a Serenity Bay snob, like Serenity Bay is, that's my happy place. And I didn't go this time, and it was okay. The family beach was good.
Well, that's good to know. You're a good mom. You gave up Serenity Bay and you gave up, what is it? Martinis in the morning. What was the other thing you were going to have?
Oh, I don't know. I was, no, I still got my martinis. Don't worry, John.
Okay, good. Okay.
I didn't go to Palo brunch, but I went to the spa. So I got in the hot tub for a little bit. I enjoyed the infinity pool. So you can make it happen. It's all right.
You can balance it all out. You gave us a good tease. We're going to do another show next week. We're going to talk about dining on the Disney Wish with Owen, good, bad, and ugly. And then I want to talk about next time Castaway Cay specifically with him. So we'll leave all that stuff for the next show. Just want to know anything you want to talk about that we didn't talk about, any tips or tricks you want to drop and let folks know. I mean, you gave off some great information, which I think is awesome. I think people are going to use everything you talked about, but something we didn't cover in this one.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could think of is just, packing for a family is always a little overwhelming. And I have kind of accepted the fact that even on a 4-night cruise, like there's a strong chance of having to do laundry, and that's okay. So if you are maybe going to Walt Disney World before or after your cruise, or you're trying to pack a little bit smaller, the laundry services on board are incredibly easy. You can charge it to your Key to the World card or your Magic Band Plus. You get a notification through the Navigator app when your clothes are done drying or done washing. It only costs a few dollars. So, don't feel like you have to pack a million outfits. It's okay if you have to do laundry. It'll take, 10, 15 minutes out of your day. The caveats that I will say is like one thing to keep in mind with going on a cruise is that it's not like Walt Disney World where you're like, okay, I can just do an Instacart delivery, or I can just, do a Target pickup order if I forget X, Y, and Z. They do have in Mickey's main sale or the main gift shop on the cruise ship, they have, all the essentials you would need. So they have diapers, swim diapers, over-the-counter medications, things like that. But if there are, specific types of snacks or specific types of foods, those kind of things, just, try to keep that in mind. You can bring on prepackaged foods with you in your carry-on. So if there are certain snacks, just be sure to pack those. Otherwise, there's, obviously plenty of food on board. But I felt like we packed pretty light considering, and that is a feat as a parent.
I can tell you the laundry facilities are an experience unto themselves. It's this most incredible setup they have on the new ships, for sure. I mean, they did such a good job. Not that people want to do laundry, but when you have to, it's nice to know that that's available to you. It's state of the art, and it's clean, and it's, it's easy.
Right. Yeah. Don't be afraid of it. So it's easy. Exactly. Or I'm going to sell myself out. So what happens now as a parent, because I pack for everybody. And so somebody's not going to get something. That's how it goes. So my poor husband this time, I forgot to pack him more than 2 pairs of boxers. So so we did laundry pretty much every afternoon. So, you just roll with it. I'm an imperfect person, and, don't let that ruin your vacation. Spend a couple bucks, throw it in the washing machine, and move on. Get a cocktail and forget about it.
I'm going to share a similar story. Kevin and I went on our first cruise 25 years ago, I guess. I don't know. It was a very long time ago, very early on in the Disney Cruise Line sailings. And it was his first cruise. It was not mine. And he was being a good guy. And he said, listen, I will pack for both of us. And I said, great. That's awesome. I would love that. Well, we got to the ship and I had no underwear. So that was, a bit of an experience.
And that's something they don't sell in the gift shop.
Exactly.
You can get toothpaste. You cannot get boxers.
And I tried wearing the pull-ups that the kids wear in the pool, and that didn't help at all. But I've learned a lesson.
Yeah,
I pack for myself now on every trip we go on. So that's a lesson
that's
learned for
true.
sure. And your husband will probably next time be like, okay, guess what? I'll take care of myself.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that.
Excellent. And thanks so much for sharing all of this information. I think people are going to find it very, very useful.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for
Uh,
having me.
You're welcome. But like I said, we're going to be doing another episode where we're going to talk about food on board, Castaway Key, and then anything else Hannah wants to mention as far as her trips, her Disney Wish cruise line sailing. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Craig. I know we didn't go to you much this show, but always important that you're sitting there not doing anything.
I get paid the big bucks for it.
That's right. Thank you, everybody at home, for listening and watching. We hope you have a great week, and we hope you have a great vacation.